The theater lights dimmed to a soft glow, and the world seemed to hold its breath. Thousands sat in silence, their eyes fixed on the small figure walking nervously toward the microphone. He was just a boy, thin, fragile-looking, with a shy smile and eyes that carried both innocence and years of untold struggle. His name was Eli Thompson, a 14-year-old from a forgotten corner of Tennessee, where broken trailers lined cracked roads and dreams were often left to fade with the morning fog. But tonight, that quiet boy, with shoes that looked a little too worn for a stage this grand, was about to change everything, not just for himself, but for everyone watching. Eli stood under the bright stage lights, blinking through their glare as if trying to see the faces behind them. His fingers trembled slightly as he adjusted the microphone. "What's your name, sweetheart?" one of the judges asked, her voice kind but curious. "Eli," he whispered. "And what are you going to sing for us today?" He swallowed hard. "Hotel California, by the Eagles." A murmur rippled through the crowd. It was a bold choice, one even seasoned professionals approached with caution. But there was something in his tone, something fragile yet sure, that made everyone listen a little closer. The music began, soft and haunting. Eli closed his eyes, his chest rising and falling as if drawing in courage with every note. Then he sang. His voice wasn't just beautiful, it was raw, soaked in something far deeper than melody. It carried pain, longing, and hope all tangled together. Every lyric sounded like a story he'd lived through. The crowd fell utterly silent, the air thick with emotion. Even the judges, usually quick with smiles or snark, sat motionless, their eyes locked on the boy as if afraid to blink and miss a second. Behind that performance was a life no one in that theater could have imagined. Eli's mother, Sarah, had raised him alone after his father's death in a car accident when he was just 4. She worked double shifts at a diner, her hands always raw from washing dishes, her back aching from endless hours on her feet. But she never complained. Music was their escape. Every night, no matter how tired she was, she'd sit by Eli's bedside and hum softly until he fell asleep. "Music can heal what words can't," she'd tell him. Those moments were their sanctuary, the one place the world's harshness couldn't reach. But tragedy has a cruel way of testing even the strongest hearts. 2 years before that night, Sarah had fallen ill, an aggressive form of cancer that spread faster than anyone expected. By the time doctors caught it, the treatments were too expensive for her to afford, and she refused to let Eli see her cry. "Promise me," she'd whispered one night, clutching his small hand, "that you'll keep singing. No matter what happens, you'll sing for me." When she passed away, Eli stopped singing for months. The house was too quiet. The world too empty. But one night, sitting by the same window where his mother used to hum, he picked up his old guitar. He played the chords to Hotel California, her favorite song. The melody filled the room, and for a moment, it felt like she was there again. That was the night he decided to audition for her. Back on stage, the second verse carried more power, more soul. You could feel his mother in every note. When he sang, "You can check out any time you like, but you can never leave," a quiet tear rolled down his cheek. The crowd could feel it too. He wasn't just performing, he was pouring his heart open before them. The cameras zoomed in, capturing that pure, unfiltered emotion. You could almost see memories flickering behind his eyes, the laughter, the pain, the love, and the loss. His voice cracked once, just slightly, and that imperfection made it perfect. It was human, real. When the last chord faded into silence, the theater erupted. People rose to their feet, clapping, cheering, some wiping tears from their eyes. Eli looked stunned, unsure what to do with all that love suddenly pouring toward him. One of the judges, a man known for being brutally honest, stood up and leaned toward the microphone. "Eli," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I've heard thousands of singers in my life. But I've never felt something quite like that." The other judges nodded, their eyes glassy. And then it happened, the moment that would echo across the internet, across hearts worldwide. The woman in the center, an icon of compassion and authenticity, reached out her hand toward the golden button in front of her. She paused for just a second, looking at Eli. "This," she said softly, "wasn't just music. This was magic." And then she pressed it. Golden confetti exploded from the ceiling like a shimmering rain of hope. The music swelled, the audience screamed, and Eli stood frozen, his mouth open in disbelief. He covered his face, overcome, as tears streamed down his cheeks. The judges rushed toward him, hugging him, whispering words of pride and awe. For a moment, he could almost hear his mother's voice again, whispering, "See. I told you, baby. Keep singing." After the show, a clip of Eli's performance went viral. Within hours, it flooded every social platform. Millions watched, millions cried. People from every corner of the world left messages. "This gave me goosebumps. I haven't cried like this in years. That boy healed something in me." Among those watching was a record producer in Los Angeles who had once worked with the Eagles themselves. He reached out immediately, not because Eli was a viral star, but because he saw truth in his voice, something raw, something the industry had long forgotten. But Eli didn't rush toward fame. When the producers invited him for interviews, he asked if he could first visit the hospital where his mother had spent her last days. There, he performed for patients, nurses, and families, bringing light into rooms filled with pain. He sang Hotel California again, not for cameras, but for hearts that needed healing. People cried and smiled all at once. One nurse later said, "It felt like he carried heaven in his voice." Months passed, and Eli's life transformed. He signed a record deal, not for money, but to use his music for good. He set up a foundation in his mother's name, the Sarah Thompson Music Fund, to help children who couldn't afford instruments or lessons. "Music saved me," he said in an interview, "so I want it to save others too." His words touched millions. Letters poured in from kids, parents, and even veterans who said his song gave them courage to face another day. One evening, during a charity concert, Eli stood on stage again, this time in front of a sea of thousands, all holding candles. He began the same song that started it all. The first strum of his guitar brought a hush over the crowd. This time, he wasn't the scared boy from Tennessee. He was a young man carrying his mother's dream forward. Midway through the song, he looked up, smiling through tears, and said, "This one's for you, Mom." The screen behind him lit up with a photo of Sarah holding him as a baby. The audience lost it, people wept openly, holding each other, strangers united in the power of a single story, a single song. When the final note faded, he didn't hear applause, he felt it. It was more than noise, it was love. A standing ovation stretched on for minutes. And though the golden confetti didn't fall this time, something even more beautiful did. A quiet rain began to fall outside, soft and steady, as if the heavens themselves were applauding. After the show, Eli sat backstage, still trembling from emotion. An older man approached him, one of the original Eagles band members, now gray-haired but sharp-eyed. "You remind me of someone," he said gently. "Someone who sang because he had to, not because he wanted to." He placed a hand on Eli's shoulder. "You've got that fire, kid. Don't ever lose it." Eli smiled, humbled beyond words. "Thank you, sir," he whispered. "I sing for her, for my mom." The man nodded. "And now, for all of us." Years later, Eli's story continued to inspire millions. His Golden Buzzer performance became one of the most watched videos in history, not because of fancy lights or vocal perfection, but because it told the truth about love, loss, and resilience. He became an ambassador for children's music programs, traveling to schools and community centers, teaching kids how to express their pain through art instead of anger. If you can't say it, he'd tell them, sing it. And somewhere, in a small graveyard on the outskirts of his hometown, a soft breeze would rustle the leaves near a simple headstone marked Sarah Thompson, loving mother, eternal song. Sometimes, locals said they heard faint music there at dusk, the gentle chords of Hotel California floating through the air, as if the earth itself remembered. Eli often returned there quietly, no cameras, no fans, just him, his guitar, and the wind. He'd sit cross-legged, play her song, and smile through tears. "We did it, Mom," he'd whisper. "You and me." And though the world saw him as a star, he always saw himself as her boy, just singing their song, keeping a promise.